Hello and welcome to Zero Trust World 2025. Cyberist TV is here recording live from the Caribe Royale in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Adrian Sanabria, and joining me for our second to last interview is Kieran Human, Special Projects Engineer at ThreatLocker. Welcome, Kieran. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you today?
I'm very good.
Glad
My
to hear.
voice is still holding out despite the having to talk very loud at the party last night.
My voice is holding on for a little longer, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. So I understand you've been. What is it? Just the Rubber Ducky Labs, or have you been doing other things at the conference as well?
Yeah, I did two different Rubber Ducky labs 3 times, and then I also did cookie stealing.
Cookie stealing. Oh yeah, yeah. We talked about that with Adam Fuller. We're talking about Microsoft 365's new token protection. I forget exactly what it was called, but something very much needed. Yeah, it's insane that in 2025 I can just take your Slack token and now I'm logged in as you. I bypass MFA and all that. But yeah, rubber duckies. So I remember when these came out. I don't remember when that was. I want to say early 2010s, maybe. Hack5 started selling these things, and it was a really neat idea. Something that, I'll let you describe it.
Yeah,
describe it to the audience. Yeah. What is a rubber ducky?
A Rubber Ducky, it looks just like a USB, regular flash drive that you plug in, get some storage with it. But what it really does is it mimics a keyboard. So a lot of people think, okay, like it's a keyboard, so what? It's not that big of a deal. But in the hacking labs, we were able to do some data exfiltration, disabling Windows Defender, even ransomware. We looked at that. So there's just a ton of different options, and it can also be useful. Really, like at the start of ZTW, we needed to connect 600 laptops to the Wi-Fi. So instead of typing in the password to every single laptop,
Yeah.
I made a quick little Ducky script. Took me about 5-10 minutes, and we just plugged them into the computers one by one. 10 seconds later, they're connected to the internet. 600 laptops took us just like 15-20 minutes. It was
Wow.
great.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so, what are the prerequisites for using this? I presume there's not much you can do if a laptop is locked, like not logged in.
Yeah, so it mimics a keyboard. So while that can be very powerful, it still has the limitations of a keyboard. So just think about anything you can do with a keyboard. So if you know the password to log into the computer, great. Or if it doesn't have a password, but almost certainly the main point of the Ducky is with an unlocked laptop or an unlocked computer. It could be unattended, but also you only really need about 1 to 2 seconds for everything to execute. So they could be distracted, turned around, something like that. But the most time it would be unlocked.
And I imagine, just having done red teaming, there are scenarios where there's kiosk machines, maybe with USB ports exposed, things that are not like a person's laptop, but still a computer that still has USB ports, and you can plug stuff in there and, maybe you can take advantage of something, right?
Yeah, and it's also not just limited to Windows. It works on multiple operating systems.
Sure. Anywhere a keyboard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what are some of the so you had like a basic one and an advanced one?
Yeah, so a basic one, just if you come in with no type of knowledge on it, we take you from no knowledge. You get to keep the Rubber Ducky.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, everyone always loves that. We gave away well over 1,000 of them. But you come in, do that, and then you get to learn some data exfiltration and then some little hidden methods to hide everything so that the end user doesn't see it.
Right.
But then in that advanced lab, we're expecting you to come in with a bit of maybe programming knowledge or technical knowledge so that we can just jump right in. And that is when we kind of get into the more nitty gritty, some further things like that ransomware, the bypassing Windows Defender, disabling it, stuff like that. And it's really cool.
So imagine you're using either the Windows command line or PowerShell, things like that.
Yeah,
or just stuff you can put in the run box, maybe.
Yeah, so you can use the run box. That is absolutely one way to do it. PowerShell commands, but also you can navigate a lot of Windows with just a keyboard.
Oh yeah.
So that's how we do the disabling Windows Defender. What we first do is we open up UAC, and then we just navigate through spaces and tabs and stuff like that to then turn off UAC. So that means that when you get prompted, it will not prompt you anymore. It'll just force right through. So we disable that. and then we go over to virus protection. We just type in virus protection automatically. Then it will navigate through spaces and tabs, disable that, and then close the window so the user doesn't see it.
Yeah, because these days UAC is going to trigger Windows Hello, right? Which might require your face or a fingerprint or a PIN or something like that.
And we even did a part of that script that we were running for entering the Wi-Fi password. I also had it exclude the documents folder from Windows Defender. So while for our purposes that was good, a nefarious user, now if you think
You've
protected,
got a whole folder, you can put whatever you want.
you can even double check my Windows Defender is turned on, everything's good, I'm protected.
It doesn't give you the red X or anything. Yeah.
I added an exclusion, so you don't get any notification for that. And then I was able to run the malware. It wasn't getting picked up, and it was good.
Wow, that's incredible. And I imagine ThreatLocker would have some defense for the Rubber Ducky.
Absolutely. So while we don't stop keyboards for very obvious reasons, what we can do is we have our tools that can help with it. So with stopping the PowerShell commands for data exfiltration, we can stop PowerShell from opening. You're always going to have some user, IT, developer, someone that needs
some
PowerShell.
exceptions, yeah.
So let's allow PowerShell, but it probably doesn't need to reach out to the internet. Or if it does need to reach out to the internet, maybe a very specific URL or a domain, and you can allow that.
Yeah.
But then you can't just allow any Google Drive or any internet connection.
Yeah.
And then also for files, again, with PowerShell, probably doesn't need access to every file. It might need access to a certain folder, so give it access to that folder, but keep it away from those sensitive documents. Don't let it reach out to everything. Don't let PowerShell just launch any program at once.
Right.
Then we have also storage control, so in that way we can just, for your backups, only your backup software should be able to access your backups. Even you as the user shouldn't be able to access the backups.
Right.
PowerShell, nothing that like the end user can really do should be able to access it. So just block everyone from accessing it except for what needs it.
Yeah. So like shadow copies, like preventing people from turning off shadow copies before the ransomware bit. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then with the Windows Defender disabling it, we can like not allow you to edit settings pages. So there's a lot of stuff that ThreatLocker can do to mitigate a lot of the risks.
Yeah, and I love that because the whole approach of we need to be able to stop every piece of malware that's out there. It's much easier to defend against the behaviors of the malware than to try and tag every single piece of malware, or even if you're using machine learning, like the modern ways of doing it. Somebody might not be using malware at all. They might be living off the land, just using administrative tools, steal your creds, and yeah, that's great, because then you can prevent the, if somebody plugs in one of those things, one of the first things they're going to do is try and download something, right? Some kind of C2, command and control, or RAT or something like that, so that they have further control of the software later, right?
Yeah, one thing that
the device, yeah.
But one Ducky script we love to show is you plug it in, and it will, in the run box, it will open PowerShell in a hidden window so the user won't see it, and it will upload their entire documents folder to our Google Drive. A lot of EDRs and MDRs do not pick that up because Google Drive is relatively trusted.
Yeah.
So that's the thing with what's the difference between malware and software?
Yeah.
There's not really a difference. It's just if you want it or not.
Yeah.
Same with TeamViewer. TeamViewer is absolutely a valid tool to have, but it can also be used by attackers. So that's why you need to just trust, but don't trust, verify. Like default deny, allow by exception. So in that way, don't allow PowerShell unless it's needed. Don't allow TeamViewer unless it's needed. And then that way you really protect against these problems.
Yeah, and putting files in Google Drive by itself is fairly benign, but PowerShell putting files in Google Drive, that seems kind of weird. Like that's not going to be a valid scenario for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit more about what you do in the advanced lab.
Yeah, so in that advanced lab, we were just showing people different things because I expected them to have a bit of knowledge about rubber duckies. Most people know about PowerShell and rubber duckies. That's by far the most common way to do them. So we were trying to look outside of PowerShell, show people that it's more than just a PowerShell script.
Right.
And one thing we also showed them is also you don't have to run the scripts in PowerShell with PowerShell. And what I mean by that is you can just have it call a remote repository, and then that remote repository has all the code you need.
Right.
And there's multiple attacks even with that. I can have a benign remote repository that you can call. A week later, I can change it. So everyone needs to be very careful with just accepting what it is. You need to always verify. That's what we try and preach here. Zero trust. Don't just trust everything. You lock your front door at home. I hope you do. Why don't you do that with your cybersecurity?
Right. Yeah, and it it seems like maybe the Rubber Ducky itself isn't the biggest threat that I need to be worried about. Most companies are going to have some kind of timeout to lock the screen, after a certain amount of time. But it seems like it's a great way, especially with people taking these back with them, to test their mitigations for different attack behaviors, without downloading real malware, right? Like
Absolutely.
now they've got an easy way they can simulate some of these things a piece of malware or an attacker might do on the system with a device like this. So I imagine there's some, so how do most people handle all the different Rubber Ducky payloads and things like that? Is it just, they've got a flash drive with a bunch of text files on it, or is there software for managing all your Rubber Ducky payloads? How do you manage all that stuff?
Yeah, for me, I actually put it on our GitHub that we gave everyone access to, and they were able to view all of them. I put some funny ones like Rick Roll. So what it is, it will do ASCII Rick Roll, turn up your volume, get that sound going. Everyone always loves that. And like you were saying, Rubber Duckies are not the best hacker tool that's out there that everyone's using, but it just really gets everyone in the mindset of what a hacker can do, how easy it can be. Because people are coming in there with no knowledge, no real experience, and 30 minutes later, they're doing data exfiltration.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, wow.
Yeah, it was that easy.
Yeah.
And I imagine you have payloads for Linux and Mac, but you probably just Windows in the labs?
Yeah, I focus on Windows and that, but you can absolutely do Mac, Windows, Linux, whatever you'd like. And the really cool thing with the Rubber Ducky is it can detect what operating system it's on. So you can have,
Okay.
You can have one payload and say, if it's on Mac, do this. If it's on Windows, do this. So it's really smart like that.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't realize that. So how do you? So you're suggesting like I could even be in front of the computer and maybe not notice that something's running? You're talking about like how do you hide what you're doing?
It only takes about 1 to 2 seconds, and I can get a script running because while it acts like a keyboard, it can type extremely fast.
Right.
So it does have to have some sort of screen movement.
Yeah.
But what you can do is open up the run window and then type in your command in there and open in, let's say, PowerShell. You can open it in hidden mode.
Oh, okay.
So then that way, you do see the typing in the run window. About 1 second, then the PowerShell opens, immediately closes.
Yeah.
The user won't see anything, and then it can just run in the background whatever is happening, or it can already do the data exfiltration. You can have it do anything else you want as well. It really does not take that long to do. You distract someone, they're turned around. Even if I'm having a conversation and someone behind them just plugs in the USB, they will not see it. Obviously, I'm not advocating that you should be doing this.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely, don't hack anyone you shouldn't. Test your own systems. It was only for educational purposes, but everyone really enjoys seeing how easy it is because then they see how important it is to be secure.
Yeah. And how easy is the language? These payloads, these scripts you're writing. Is it a formal scripting language? Is it just you're listing keystrokes and?
It's super easy.
Yeah.
You just type like string and then what you want it to type, delay the number of milliseconds. And what I love to tell everyone in the lab for the data exfiltration, we have our own script that we do that we have already made, but I wanted to see what generative AI could help me with.
Yeah.
So I asked it to make me a script to create a folder called stolen documents in the desktop and then copy my documents folder over. It's like, no, I can't help you with that. That's not allowed or something. So all I did is I removed stolen and I just called it documents.
Yeah.
And I was like, sure, here's the Ducky script. So
it knows Ducky, like ChatGPT knows Ducky script.
Yeah,
Okay.
for that I used some, I'm not sure exactly which one, but yeah, absolutely. It gave it to me. All I had to do then was just add stolen back into the line. It worked exactly as I intended.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is, even if you don't know how to code it, you can absolutely find ways to do it. We have our Chief Product Officer, Rob Allen. He's not a programmer. He has used ChatGPT to write a reverse shell.
Right. Yeah. Amazing stuff. Well, Kieran, thank you so much for joining me today. A lot of fun. Love hearing about Rubber Duckies. It's been a while since I've heard about them. Love that you're, the whole format of the conference, like not being just talks, but also having these hands-on labs, and the Cyber Hero certification. It's really cool.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. You can access all of the Cyber Risk TV content from Zero Trust World 2025 at securityweekly.com/ZTW. And stick around. We've got one more interview for you as we wrap up day 3 of the conference. Thank you again, Kieran.
Of course. Thank you.